What's happening, friends? Josh with the Will Hunt Life here. It's hard to believe, but it is already mid-July. And at least here in Ohio, that means whitetail season is just a shade over 2 months away. Now, we do have some great hunting videos that'll be coming your way shortly, and that will include some big whitetails hitting the ground, a bear hunt, a mountain lion hunt, and some trapping videos. But before we can get to all that fun, we've got to do a couple gear videos. I've got to do a follow-up video to the Ghost Blind review that I started last fall. Gotta say, it's an incredible product. You're gonna want to stick around for that, and I will be using it again this whitetail season. But today, we're talking about cellular trail cameras. Specifically, we're going to talk about the GardePro X60 Pro Max with live video functionality. It's been about 4 years since we did a trail camera video, and that was on the Spartan Go Live. And since then, there have been a multitude of trail camera companies that have come and gone, and several of them in the last year or so have introduced their own version of a live video feature, and that includes GardePro. Now, GardePro's been around for about 10 years, and prior to them introducing their cellular lineup of trail cameras, they were starting to make some noise with their regular cameras. People were enamored with their image and video quality as well as the battery life. For the sake of transparency, GardePro did reach out to us and ask us to do this review, and they were kind enough to send out the equipment to do it with. But it is going to be an honest review. I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons, or the things that I would like to see improvements on inside the app or with the camera itself. That said, whether you like what you see here today or want to wait for the follow-up video where I dive deeper into the camera and its features, you are welcome to use our 15% discount code that you will find in the description to this video. And that 15% does apply to any sales, or is on top of any sales that they may be having when you go to use that code. For example, right now the X60 Pro Max Live is on sale for $120. Using our 15% discount, you can get that camera for a skosh over $100. Pretty solid deal. So without further ado, let's get to opening the box, get our initial thoughts on the camera, and then also talk about how we're going to be testing it and what we're going to compare the X60 Pro Max Live to. Okay, so I know that the camera already comes with a rechargeable lithium-ion battery pack. Looks like they sent us an extra one, so that's pretty cool. Much appreciated, of course. If we open the box to the camera, of course, you have your instruction manuals. Looks like there is one for the lithium-ion battery pack, probably care and safety stuff. And then, of course, you've got one for the camera strap to attach it to the tree. A USB cable, likely to charge batteries and probably pull pictures off of the camera. And of course, the all-important antenna. Pretty important for a cellular trail camera is to have the antenna. As for the camera itself, I tell you, for the size, no larger than that is, it's pretty hefty. Pretty hefty. Not necessarily a bad thing. It feels like it's built kind of like a tank. And of course, inside you've got your lithium-ion pack that is protected from running while the camera is being shipped, etc. And then looks like a pretty similar layout to most other trail cameras. Heavy-duty latch, and then protective film on the lenses and the Fresnel lenses to protect those while shipping. So there's the camera. And then they were also kind enough, get that closed, also kind enough to send along their SP300 solar panel. Inside that, you've got, of course, your manual for the solar panel. The panel itself, which isn't all that big, really. It's only about 8 inches across, a little bit smaller than that even. And some mounting hardware to attach the solar panel to a tree. All right, there it is, friends. The X60 Pro Max with live capability from GardePro. Obviously, I am excited to put this camera out in the field and use it for this upcoming whitetail season. However, for the sake of this review, I've got a bit more testing to do. Earlier, I had mentioned that this is going to be an honest review. And how do we make that happen? Well, I'm going to put the camera up against what has become my favorite trail camera over the last 4 years, and that is the Spartan Go Live. Now we'll dive deeper into the comparison and differences between the two and their respective apps on part 2 that'll be coming out in about a month and a half once I have a chance to test the GardePro, but we can talk about a few differences right now. For one, you can see that the Spartan Go Live is a little bit larger in regards to form factor. They're both about the same width, but height-wise and width-wise, the Spartan is a little bit larger. Internally, the Spartan runs off of 12 AA batteries, whereas the GardePro runs off of rechargeable lithium-ion packs that are removable. So if you have one at home, all you need to do is charge it up, take it out in the field. If your camera goes dead, swap them out and you're good to go. Pretty excited about not having to buy AA batteries and take them out into the field and fumble with them while changing batteries. Just walk in, open a camera, pop the battery pack out, pop the new one in, and off you go. Next, the Spartan records images to an SD card, whereas the GardePro stores images internally. Initially, I'm not sure if that's a big deal or a difference maker for me. However, I have had SD cards go bad in the past, and that is extremely frustrating when it does happen. Now we can talk about carriers and carriers that the cameras work with. With Spartan, you're a little bit limited. You can buy a Verizon specific model or an AT&T specific model, or you can pony up a few more dollars and buy a model that will work with either AT&T or Verizon. Whereas with the GardePro model, one camera, one SIM card works with all 3 major carriers here in the US, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. That can be a pretty big deal where signal is sometimes hard to come by from any of those carriers at any given time. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, let's talk about price point. The GardePro comes in at 1/3 to 2/3 the price of the Spartan. That is a pretty big difference. That is more money in your pocket. And I don't know about you, but I like money in my pocket. So how are we going to test and compare the 2 different models? Well, of course, we're going to look at trigger speed. Quite frankly, that is one thing I've been a little bit disappointed in with the Spartan, is it is a little bit sluggish in regards to trigger speed. We will also look at the detection and flash range of the 2 cameras. The Spartan is rated at about 80 feet, and I would say that's pretty much its limit. The GardePro, on the other hand, is rated at 100 feet. If it holds up to that, I'm going to be thoroughly impressed. We will then, of course, look at the big feature that is common between the 2 cameras, and that is the live video function. I want to see what the latency difference is between the 2 cameras. In other words, when I press that button to see live video of what is in front of the camera, how long does it take for that to come onto my device that I'm looking at? Then, of course, we'll look at the apps and the features and functions of those apps on each of the cameras. And then lastly, we'll look, of course, at data plans. Oh, and image and video quality. Who could forget that? Now, over the course of the next 7 days, I'm going to put both cameras in my yard on the same post and test those things that I just mentioned. Afterwards, I will put the GardePro out in the field by its lonesome for about a month and just run it through its paces and look and see how I like the camera. After that, we'll come back with the follow-up video and talk deeper about the GardePro X60 Pro Max Live. Don't forget, before I go, that if you are interested in the GardePro X60 or any of their other devices or accessories, you can use our 15% discount code that you will find in the description. That's it, guys. Appreciate you watching. Can't wait to see you next time right here on The Will Hunt Life.